So the first thing is, if it doesn't think that jerky is at least as good as water, it must be the case that it thinks that water is at least as good as jerky. But it thinks both of them at the same time. Look at the definition there, which I erased. No. Prefers. It finds water at least as good as jerky, and doesn't find jerky at least as good as water. By the definition, means that he strictly prefers water to jerky. Okay, so now we have this guy here, and we discovered that he strictly prefers water to jerky. So we can make this guy do the following. Say, Mr. Michael K, have a glass of water. And now that he has a glass of water, we can say to him, oh, actually, I have this glass of water, I have this milk here. Would you find this milk at least as good as the water?
Yes.
And he does find the milk at least as good as water. So it basically says that he will change the milk for the water. So, okay, give him back the glass of water and have this glass of milk. Oh, Mr. K, in addition to this milk, I have this jerky here. Would you like to have this jerky instead of the milk? Well, he finds jerky at least as good as milk. So I say, fine, I'll have the jerky instead of the milk. So we give him the jerky. And now we go back and say, look, actually, I have this glass of water still back in my hand. Would you pay me 1 cent for this glass of water? Now remember that he strictly prefers water to jerky. So he will actually have to assume for 30 here, but don't worry about it very much. So we can still make him pay me a little bit, 1 cent, and change the jerky for the water. And now what happened? Well, he started with a glass of water, he ended with a glass of water, and he gave us 1 cent. But we can do this forever. I still have the jerky, and I still have the milk. And we can do this again, and then make 1 cent. And again, 1 cent, 1 cent, 1 cent. And we can steal all this money by this. And this is what we call a money pump. is correct. I introduced what is the concept of transitivity here. This is the definition. I would be more colorful if I had more color. I'm now showing why this is important by constructing an example that it does not specify transitivity. And I'm showing that if this happens, we can create money pumps and so on. And although money pumps might happen in the beginning, sometimes it takes you a while to figure out they were losing money. If you're playing penny auctions, for example, online, and I know that maybe some of you are playing in those sites that auction iPhones for $20, it's going to take you a while to realize they're losing money. But even though maybe you can do this once, twice, this is an argument in favor of transitivity, is that if people can follow this for once or twice, but then they realize what's going on, and they correct their practice. They say, no, I should actually prefer jerky to water, otherwise I'm losing money. Yes?
So if there is no transitivity, then there's a money pump?
Say a little bit louder.
So if there is no transitivity, then there's a money pump?
If someone doesn't respect transitivity at all, we can make a money pump. You know, who does not respect transitivity? My dog. It doesn't. I can show you like two goods, and I have this pink coat, fluffy, and another ball him. And if I show him the pink fluffy thing, he wants that. And then he gets it. And I show him the ball, and he wants that. And then he drops to the coat flesh that I throw to him. And I can keep playing with this with him forever. So my dog doesn't respect transitivity. Actually, if you are a little bit naughty, you're going to say, no, it's not that your dog does respect transitivity. It's not that he likes one better than the other. It's that he likes anything that is in your head. And if you want to think like that, you're going to start believing that even my dog respects you. But yes, if some people are transitivity, you can have money, get money. Okay, there's a big chance that guys are lost. You say, Tiago, you promised that you would say something about rationality. And the word rationality didn't come up. Or getting frustrated about it, saying, what is rational? With no further ado, let's go to the definition. this relation satisfies specificity and completeness, this individual or this preference relation is called rational. This is it. You are able to compare anything, rank them, and if you prefer one thing to another and another to another one, you prefer the first thing to the other one. That's all. There's no word about selfishness, no word about logic, no word about emotionalness, being always right. Just completeness and present. Yes. I don't tell you this example. Oh. Yeah.
Here you have dirty about milk and then milk about water, but then water is about dirty. It's not done. So if we have to look at it from the point of view where we want them, it's not wrong.
No.
There is no ranking.
It means, okay, what you're thinking about is, maybe rank is a bad word. Because you're thinking like, oh, this is the best, doesn't mean that this is the best, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, the fourth, and sixth and seventh one. You're right, there's no ranking there. It means that he can choose between two of them. Okay? Completeness and transitiveness could imply some rank. Okay? But without transitivity, there is no rank of them. It means that you can compare pairwise both of them. You're right. But yeah, he can be complete and not. Yes.
Weakness is essentially the same thing as
What?
weakness is the same thing as
I'm trying to get now to the point where we can have an exercise. It was similar to exercise that was class when I did this class before, and I think it was for one. Before I get the next example, there's probably something similar going to be in your homework. I have to talk a little bit about choice rules. Okay. Perhaps you're completely unsatisfied right now. Because he said, oh, economics is so much economics. We say the guy has preference and he tells people around what are those preferences. And no one has preference about anything. You know, that's just, and I agree with that. It's just a story that we tell. It's a coherent story that we tell. We don't go outside there and observe people saying, I prefer jerky to milk. Water. This doesn't happen. So it's just a way to tell a coherent story. What we do observe in every day, if you go in the market, are choices. People making choices, buying white tomato, yellow tomato instead of red tomato, lettuce instead of spinach. People make choices every day. You can observe them in the market. You go to the farmer markets and sit down there, and you can observe people making choices. So, a choice rule is something that from the choices, from a possible set, we deduce the preferences. I see the people going there in the market, and I sit down, and in the farmer's market, and there is the red tomatoes and the yellow tomatoes, same price, and the person comes here and gets the yellow tomato. And I figure out, well, this person prefers the yellow tomato to the red tomato. This you can do. It's a way to tell a story that explains some of the world. Question? Okay, I'm just introducing here a new notation, so we can try to infer preferences from choices. Let's say we go to Mr. K and we offer him, hey, Mr. Michael K, welcome to our food market today. We have for the same price, you can pick one of them, either milk or water. Then he goes there and picks the milk. The choice is represented by an arrow. He had available everything between brackets, and he has chosen the milk. If he has done that, and we observe him in our food market stand, this implies could have chosen water, but he chose milk. And he didn't pick both of them. He wasn't reluctant about it. He specifically revealed that he prefers milk strictly to water. Okay? Fine. You may criticize economics saying there's a bunch of abstractions. But right now, this is something that you can observe. Also, we're going to assume that if you had three options, milk, water, and jerky, and he decided to get milk. This implies the milk, he prefers milk to water, and he also prefers milk to jerky. So let's say we have this in our food stand here, and we have beef jerky, milk, and water. And Mr. K comes and he can pick whatever he wants, and he picks the milk. What does it imply? It's right there at the board.
Can you repeat that?
Yes, but what does it imply? It implies what is written in the board. They strictly prefer milk over water, and they strictly prefer milk over jerky. But what does it imply between water and jerky? It implies no. You don't figure it out making an assumption. Okay? Questions? So now we're going to go for an exercise. Actually, let's do an exercise together. There was an exercise in this class in the fall of 2012. I just changed the names so we could get back to my mind in a second. Okay, so this little exercise was a multiple choice one. So Michael K faces several choices. Oh. He's never moody, and the conditions and environment around him never change. So he's always the same guy coming to our street walk. In which of the following cases can Mr. K be considered rational? So I'm going to put four sequences of choices there, and I want you guys to tell me which of them it respects rationality. Okay, the last one. Okay, just going back to what we're doing here now. I put a bunch of choices there that Michael K has when he comes to our method. I would like you guys to help me figure out in which of these cases, A, B, C, D, his behavior depicts a behavior of a rational person, or in the case of none of the above makes sense. Okay. I need someone to help me up in the first one. You have to figure out what's your name? Sasha. Let's figure out together if A is rational. Let's just explain to the rest of the class how we're going. What did we learn for the first one, Sasha? So we know that so he prefers milk to jerky. The second one prefers jerky to water.
And then water melts, but that breaks the
But that violates. Great, Sasha. Can anyone else help me in the second one? What's your name?
Brian?
Right. Right. Can you help me with the second one? Let's do it together.
So,
What did you learn for the first choice?
we got 3 first jerky over water.
He prefers jerk over milk. So jerk over milk. And he also prefers jerky over water. Right? For the second one,
It says he prefers water over jerky.
so he prefers water over jerky. But that already violates rationality, right? Because we saw that he prefers jerky strictly to water, and this means that he prefers jerky, and this contradicts this one. This kind of. I'm sorry? Why it violates? Okay. You agree with this statement here? So from this one here, discover that he prefers jerky to water. Right? And what does this symbol here means? It means that a jerk is weakly preferred to water, and water is not weakly preferred to jerk. Right? This is the definition of this symbol here. Right. In order to discover from this symbol here, from this choice here, we discover the water is preferred to jerky. But if water is strictly preferred to jerky, this means that water is strictly preferred to jerky, and jerky is not preferred to water. So this here is completely contradicts this one here. So this is not right. Look, I understand they just introduced these concepts here in this class, and I'm asking you to do exercise now. So it's hard, and you have time to get familiarized with this. And by the way, they're not going to stay in the class for very long. Third one. From here we discover that he prefers milky to jerky and milk to apple. From here we discover that he prefers jerky to water. And here we discover that he prefers water to jerky. This contradicts with this one here. Also not rational. Anyone can help you with D. What's your name there?
Mike.
Mike. Can you help me with D?
First milk over jerky.
So he prefers, we discover here that he prefers milk over jerky and
Milk over apple.
milk over apple. From the second one,
First jerky over water.
jerky over water. And from the third one,
Prefers milk over water.
that's fine here, right? There's no contradiction here. we could, as like point out, we might organize a rank out of this. We're not sure of some places in the rank. We know that he likes milk more than he likes everything else, and then he likes jerked water. We don't know how apples are placed in this game, but it's okay. It could make sense. So this here is rational. Another ball as well. Okay. This was an exercise. This was actually, I think this was actually an exam of 2 years ago. Are you saying that maybe he has these choices and yet he is irrational, right? True. We just had a few choices and we don't know, maybe there is some irrational there that we haven't figured it out yet. The question is, he can be considered irrational. I think it would be more appropriate to say is acceptable for a rational human being. Maybe he's not irrational, he's completely, but he's making this decision. Actually, there's a debate concept, a mild debate. And I was thinking about it in research. It's whether people with schizophrenics satisfy rationality. Whether they can do this correctly or not. I'm not so clear. Some people think they cannot, some people think they might. They say 2-year-olds are not rational, they make mistakes, but people who are older than 2-year-olds, they will be rational. Okay. There's been a lot so far. If you have taken, and I hope you have, another microeconomic classes, there's probably something that you're missing here. You did not say a word about utility. Often we say, oh, people have utility and this is the utility. We would like to reconciliate this with a utility function. Preferences with utility function. So we can go over the rest of our course and talk and say, oh, people have the utility function. And you know what it means. It's not just a number there. You know where it comes from. So let's see the relationship between preferences, rationality, and utility. go back to the utility function that you guys have used. So we say the utility function represents this preference. This weird symbol here that we defined at least as good as. If for all A and B, such that A is at least as good as B, we have the utility function of this object A is greater or equal to the utility function of this object B. Notice one thing. This here, this symbol here, they're not the same. Because objects are just things in a crazy dimension of apples and oranges. But when you have utility there, the utility gets as an argument apples, oranges, or anything that the function can have, and gives a number. And numbers are bigger or equal. Number can be ranked. Okay, 8, if I have two numbers, 8 or pi, either one is bigger than the other, and the other one is bigger or equal, or the other one is bigger than equal. If both happen, they're the same. It also happens, we can reduce these, that if you strictly prefer A to B, so if he strictly prefers A to B, it means that the utility of A is bigger than the utility of B. And if A is indifferent to B, if and only if so now after all this detour and this abstract mathematics that we've been through, we'll go back to the utility function that you guys are used to. This is what it says the utility function represents a preference for Mr. Michael K. It means that every time Michael K strictly prefers A to B, the utility that he has with A is bigger than the utility that he has with B. Every time he's indifferent, the utility is the same. I'm going to ask you guys something. Do you think there's always an utility that represents a preference? Can we always assign number to objects and give them a utility? Remember that we came up with some kind of crazy examples here. We came up with examples like when Michael K liked jerky more than the milk, and milk as much as water, but he prefers water more than milk. And then a friend here, Haja. As Haja pointed out, we cannot really make a ranking with those preferences. cannot order them. So can we always have a utility function that represents preferences? I know. Well, the answer is no. Not always have utility function that represents the preferences. And now you ask me, unsatisfied, and say, but I have studied economics so far, all over my life, assuming that people have utility functions, and working with that. And now you come here to me and say, no, there's sometimes utility functions, sometimes there are preferences that cannot be represented by utility functions. So you ask me, Tiago, when can utility functions represent, when can preferences be represented by utility function? When can we ignore all those things we put in the board today and just go there and have a utility function that give us numbers? And that's why I have this cool theorem. A preference relation can be represented by a utility function if and only if this preference relation is rational. So that's why we make all these detour and say, because in the remainder of the course, and we talk about rationality, because in the remainder of the course, we're going to talk about utility functions, and agents have payoffs, and they want to maximize their utility function. They want to do the maximum that they want. But when can we talk about those utility functions? When can utility function actually represent an agent? What agent do? Well, only if this agent is rational. But don't get too worried about it, because as we argued, rationality is not what often people think rationality is. Rationality for us only means completeness and transitivity. And that's a good argument that we have as an economist. It's an argument. We're going to judge whether it's good or not, before assuming that people are rational. You guys have any questions? It's a corollary. else.
Utility of
They are even only, so use the word for both states. Just if I clarify this point here, this is the definition. This comes from the definition. Those are if and only if, so this implies this implies this. So far, we talked about rationality. What is rationality and what is not rationality? And I said, why we assume that people are rational. But maybe you are not really happy with that, because in the end, all I told you guys is, well, we assume that people are rational because pretty much everything